Hi my loves, welcome to the channel Style by C. Today's tutorial will be on how to recreate this beautiful princess style dress. Do subscribe, share to friends, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. So guys, the first thing first we're going to be marking is our half length for our top, the top part of our gown. And this is what we have. So at this point now we're going to go ahead to mark our shoulder measurements, which is 7.5 inches, 1 inch down for our shoulder slope. From there we're going to mark our armhole depth. Go back to your shoulder line, mark your bust line, your under bust, 3 inches for the neck width. Connect it to your slope. This is what we have. This is our chest line. This is our nipple bust line. This is our under bust. So label it U. This is H, half length. This is bust line. This is at chest line. Okay, so now go ahead and divide what you have on your shoulder measurements into 2 to get the midpoint, and this is what I have as my midpoint. So from this point now I'm going to be coming in by 1/2 inch. From there I'm going to connect to my shoulder slope. This is what I have. Then from here I'm going to be making a curve into my armhole measurements this way. Okay, now the next thing to do now is you're going to go ahead and mark our nipple to nipple measurements on our bust line, on our under bust, and on the half length. And this is what we have. Now connect these 3 points together this way. Okay, so having done this now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is on my under bust I'm going to mark 2 inches. On my half length I'm going to mark 2 inches. And I'm going to connect the 2 points together this way. Using the curved part of this rule, I'm going to connect to my bust line. And this is what I have. Okay, now from the bust line, I'm going to be connecting to half of my armhole measurements, which is here. Okay, now from half of the armhole measurements, come down by 2 inches. This is to tighten our over bust, because this is going to be our over bust now. So from here now I'm going to connect back to this point, which is my bust line. And this is what I have. Okay, so having done this now, if we should cut this out and sew it, we're going to be having shortage at this area. So to rectify this, all you have to do is from this point now go up by the 2 inches we removed here. You went down, so from here now I'm going to go up by 2 inches, and this is what I have. So I'll go ahead to connect this together, and this is what I have as the 2 inches. Okay, so now from here I'm going to retrace my armhole measurements. And this is what we have left. Okay, so the next thing now is we're going to go ahead with our round body measurement, like our body measurements. So this is for my bust measurements. I'll also go ahead to do the same thing for my waist measurements. Now having done this now, remember we removed some inches which are going up this area. Okay, so we have 2 inches here. We're going to be adding it back to the pattern paper. All right, we have 0.75 inches or 1/2 inch on the chest line. We're going to be adding back to the pattern paper, and this is what we have. Please note that this is not the actual body seam allowance. Okay, so you can decide to add your seam allowance to your paper, or you can decide to do that on your fabric while cutting it out. So for now I'm going to just add my seam allowance on this paper. But while cutting on my fabric, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch on the side, that is the inner part of this place, for stitching allowance. So I'm going to go ahead to trace this. Now this is what we have. We're going to be working on the neck area of our dress now. So guys, now the next thing we're going to be working on is our neck area, the depth of our neck. So for this, I'm going to be working with 7.5 inches for the depth of my neck. Okay, and this is where I have it here. Please note that this neck is going to be in a V form. So I'm just marking out my neck width on this area, nothing much. So it's actually kind of a UV neckline. So from that point now, I'm going to be making my UV neckline inwards to this area. It's kind of a V but UV neckline, not really a V neckline. And this is what we have. Okay, so we'll now go ahead to cut this piece out. But before I proceed to cutting out this top part, okay, we're still going to talk about it. So guys, this is what we have. Now I'm going to close this up this way. First and first, I'm going to actually close it up because I want to cut out. We're going to be having an attachment in front, which is going to come from the chest line, which is here, down to the center point of our dress at this point. So this is what the extra piece is going to look like. Okay, that design we have in front. So this is what it's actually looking like. Okay, so we'll place this in another pattern paper and trace this out, or we're going to cut out our bustier first, then we'll go ahead to cut this out. All right, so guys, this is for our sleeve. Okay, so I have the full length of my sleeve, which is 14 inches. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding about 3 inches to my sleeve. Okay, from the tip here I'm going to add 3 inches. Now from the actual sleeve length, I'm going to come down to 4 inches, which is my cap height here. All right, now from this point now, sorry, I'm going to be making, okay, for us to get that sleeve we want. So this is what we have. Now here you're going to insert your round sleeve measurements. Now note that what we have there is very bold, so I'm going to be using about 9 inches for mine, or 10 inches depending on how bold you want yours to be. Now here we're going to insert our bust measurements plus seam allowance. I'm using 1.5 inches because I'm still going to turn it out. So guys, this is what we have. We'll go ahead to cut this piece out. So now this is my sleeve. I went ahead to attach a thick gum stay to it. Okay, you can decide to use a peplum stay. I think peplum stay is more preferable to give it the volume, like that stiffness. You can also insert a crinoline to yours. So I'll be turning this out with my fabric. Okay, you can also decide to turn out your lining piece. So I'll go ahead and turn it out. That is the sleeve. So first and first is you have to run a stitch at the base. That is the base of your sleeve. Okay, go ahead and run a stitch on it. After running a stitch on the base, I went ahead to open it up this way. Now I'm going to fold it. What I have, I've gone ahead to fold it this way. Now I'm going to run a stitch from here. That is the biceps of our sleeve to this other end of the biceps. Okay, then turn it out. So now this is for my bustier pieces. That is my princess darts. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead to join these pieces together. Okay, so all I have to do is just flip it down here. I'm going to go ahead and run a stitch on it. Please, I'll suggest whenever you're joining a bustier princess dart, please start from the bottom part of it up to the up. Okay, after joining our bustiers together, our breast part and princess dart together, this is what we have. This is what it looks like. And this is what the inside looks like. So I'm going to put this aside. Now this is the stylist design that is in front that we cut earlier. I went ahead to put an, I'm going to iron this down on it. This is a gum stay, okay, to give it that stiffness. So I'll iron it down on it, then I'm going to place it, I'll be placing it on top of my bustier before turning it on my lining piece. This is what we have for our bustier, our princess dart bustier, or princess dart. Okay, so now I've placed my design cutouts on top of my fabric. So I'll go ahead and join the bottom part of my piece, that is the skirt part of my gown, to this area now. Okay, for the skirt part of our dress, I'm going to be using the full length of this Ankara piece for it. Okay, so I have minus 17, which is my half length, down to the bottom, the full length of my dress. So here now I'm going to set my waist measurements, which is 8 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance. Then from there I'm going to go down to 9 inches, which is where I'm going to set my hip measurements. So here now I'm going to set my hip measurement plus my seam allowance. I have 12.5 inches, and this is it here. So from this point now I'm going to connect to my waist. Then I'll connect it all the way down to the bottom of it. At least the bottom of your skirt should be your hip measurements plus 1 inch or half an inch. So guys, now the next thing to do is to go ahead to cut out this piece. So guys, this is for my back piece. I went ahead to place it on a fold. I placed my front piece on the folded back piece. Okay, I left about 1.5 to 2 inches. This is for my zip allowance. All right. Now the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut this out. Then we'll work on the slit side of the skirts. So now we're going to work with the slits. So from the bottom, I'm going to go up by 22 inches. This is for my sleeve opening. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Alright, now what I'm going to do is from the center, that is the difference between my front piece and the back piece, I'm going to be making a curve this way. I don't know if you're able to see it. So I made a curve inwards to put that sleeve. Okay, so now the next thing to do now is I'm going to mark half an inch away from the center piece, that is away from my front piece. Alright, I'm also going to mark it down to where I have my 22 inches. Then I'll go ahead and crease my curve my curve very well. And this is what I have. Now I'll go ahead and cut this piece out. So guys, this is for our back piece. So this is what we have. I'll go ahead to notch this. I'll put this aside. This is for my skirt part of my dress. Should in case you want to make a skirt, this is one way to create your skirt. So guys, this is for my back piece. Okay, this is my zipper allowance. Then I'll go ahead to run my dress proper. So my shoulder measurement is 8 inches. My neck width is going to be 3 inches. Then I'm going to come down to 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'm going to connect it to my neck width. The next thing to do is to divide your bust measurements by 6. So to get my elbow depth stroke, my chest line, what I did was to divide my bust measurement by 6. Add 1.5 inches to it, and I have 7.78. So approximately I'm going to be working with 7.75 inches. Or you can use the inches below the 7.75 inches. Alright. So this is what I have. Then I'll go ahead on this chest line. I'm going to mark my shoulder measurements. So now divide what you have on this your elbow area into 2 to get the midpoint. From that point, it's coming by 1/2 inch. Connect to your shoulder slope. Then from here, make a curve into your chest line. And this is what you have. Now the next thing to do is to insert your bust measurements here. Plus your seam allowance. Go down to your waist. Do the same thing. Insert your waist measurements. Plus your seam allowance. And connect these 2 together. Then all you have to do is to go ahead, cut out this. And a lining piece for it. But before that, you have to create your neck depth. To do that, we're going to be working with 2 inches for our neck depth. And I'm going to connect it to my neck width. Now, I'll keep this aside. This is what we have. Now, the next thing we're going ahead to do now is to join our 2 shoulders together. That is this front shoulder with our back shoulder together. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to be fixing the sleeve to my armhole area. Okay, so while fixing this, I'm going to pleat these areas. That is this sleeve opening. I'm going to pleat it right to fit in properly.